I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. And waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my co-host, Sam. And today we're talking about the top 3 boxing fights that never happened, fights that we wish had happened. So, Sam, go ahead. Give me your number 3 of fights that you wish you would have seen. Talk to me.
Okay, my number 3 is Julio Cesar Chavez versus Salvador Sanchez.
Oh, talk to me, bro.
Because when Salvador Sanchez was, in the height of his career, knocking out with Frederick Gomez, just, fighting Danny Little Red Lopez. I mean, dude, 2 years later, Chavez won his first title.
Right.
2 years later. That Salvador Sanchez fight, people, when they talk about who is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, and a lot of people, say Chavez, say Sanchez. And many, boxing people in the boxing business, Roy Jones and everybody else, they talk about Sanchez, his style of fighting, and how great he was with his defense, his hands, his stamina, everything, his footwork. This Chavez Sanchez fight would have proven to the world, who was the greatest Mexican fighter of all time.
Right.
And we lost the opportunity. Rest in peace, Sanchez died in an accident. And but that would have been huge, man.
I agree with you 100%. That is the ultimate for us Mexican boxing fighting fans. That is the ultimate what if when it comes to the fighters that we never saw. What if Sanchez never had his accident? Because, Julio Cesar Chavez was the up-and-coming guy. And I got to give credit to Chavez where credit is due. When he saw, I don't want to say he saw the opportunity in his death, but when his name was called to go to that upper echelon, he took it and he ran with it. Very
exactly
style for both fighters. Sanchez with the quick feet, great defense, speed, and power. And here's Cesar Chavez with this plopping, not relentless approach with an ironclad chin that just never stops banging to the face and body. That is one of those fights that we can only wish would have happened. Who do you think would have gotten that fight if it did happen?
I think Sanchez. I think Sanchez would win by decision. I think he's a busier fighter, and he would have had Chavez just following him around. Sanchez would have been picking him apart, in my opinion.
Okay, for me it depends, because if Chavez, the fight happened in the mid to late 80s, I would have Cesar Chavez winning all day. If it would have happened at late 70s, early 80s, I think Chavez started fighting competitively in 81. I could be off on that. But in that 81, 82, 83 range, I would give it to Sanchez. And the only reason why I would give Chavez the win if it was in the mid to late 80s, which could have happened, is because,
85.
Yeah, if it would have happened in 85, 86, dude, Chavez already fought many different styles. He fought Roger Mayweather. He fought guys with length. He fought guys that had speed. And I think Chavez was, I think for Salvador Sanchez, even though he already beat Benitez and had a pretty good Little Red Lopez that were great fighters.
And Gomez,
I'm sorry, Gomez, right? I think that experience right there would not have matched. Well, I think Chavez would have had more experience with different complex boxers where he can handle a Salvador Sanchez. I still think that it would have been pretty close to a draw if they would have fought in both eras, though. Because think if they fought earlier, I think Chavez was also so hungry to get to that next level. And like Chavez and all these Mexican fighters, they always fought with super duper pride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, okay. Excellent pick, by the way.
Who's your number 3?
Number 3 is more. Hey, guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. Of a family favorite, there are better fights that we wish that could have happened and never did. But this one was something that was talked about and the asada barbecues that my family and friends would have in the backyard, and that was Puerto Rico versus Mexico, Benitez versus Pepino Cuevas, bro. Now, Pepino Cuevas is probably, I've said this on a previous episode, my dad and my uncle's favorite boxer. I mean, let me ask you this. How many times did you hear growing up about Pepino Cuevas and his legacy?
As a kid, I thought his name was funny, so it goes way
exactly,
back.
Right? It goes way
Yeah,
back.
it goes way back. I was a child, my dad, everybody talking about Pepino Cuevas, and I just thought it was ridiculous. Like, why would they call him that? But anyways,
I mean,
I get it. The guy was there. Julio Cesar Chavez.
He was there, and
you
then
know what I'm saying?
Early on in his career, when he was like unstoppable, we wanted to see Benitez. I mean, look, Benitez, he won the super lightweight at 17 years old. He even had his own buddies, his high school buddies in the crowd as he won his first title. Then here comes Pepino Cuevas at 18 years old, taking over the WBA, if I'm not mistaken, of that division. And now we're waiting for that unification bout. And unfortunately, it never happened. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there was some timing issues that happened. And then let's be honest, even though Pepino Cuevas, to my recollection, was the favorite to beat Hitman Hearns when Hitman Hearns was a nobody, gets knocked down early in the second round, maybe a 4 or 5 minute fight in total. Pepino Cuevas was never the same boxer after that. I think he actually lost more fights than he won after that fight with Hitman Hearns. To me, I would love to have seen that fight. You have any thoughts on
dude, Wilfredo Benitez? Oh, bro, that guy was a machine, bro.
Dude.
Go ahead. Dude, we got to make an episode on that guy. That guy was, for me, when I would see this guy fight, he was, just imagine, a shorter but faster Arguello. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but the guy was a technician. He was the gatekeeper, bro, for Leonard and all them guys, bro. He was the guy you gotta
go through him.
You gotta go through him if you want to reach the heavens, man. And the dude was a bad dude. Him against Pepino Cuevas would have been. I'm gonna have, I have to admit it. I get all the hate from everybody, but I think that Wilfredo Benitez would have been Pepino Cuevas, in my opinion.
I think so too. Even though Pepino Cuevas, when the fight was happening, I think he only had one loss at the time, and it was like 5 years earlier when he was this up and coming boxer. So he had already grown and developed into a legend, like you said. He was our Cesar Chavez before Julio Cesar Chavez, and it's a shame it didn't happen before the Hearns fight. And let's just be honest, man. Most boxers were never the same after they fought Hearns, anyways.
Yeah.
But for Benitez, bro, I agree with you. If they would have fought, he has so much speed and power and technique. Not to mention, bro, that little pop that he had was when he goes in with those two 3-piece combos were, to me, legendary. And by the way, when it comes to top defensive boxers of all time, he should be on everybody's list. I think he was on our list as well when we did our top 3 defensive, if I'm not mistaken. If they would have fought, it would have been a 15-round fight. I could see that a 10-5, maybe 11-4 lopsided fight. But the reason why, it was just the Mexican legend and the rivalry why it brought in. I would have Benitez winning as well in a blowout. But that's why we have these conversations. Talk to me. Who's your number 2, brother?
My number 2 was a fight. I know it happened, but it was 7 years too late. My number 2 is Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. I believe that this fight should have been taken when Manny Pacquiao had beaten De La Hoya and Floyd had knocked out Ricky Hatton, and that was 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
That was the time this fight should have happened. Pacquiao would have been 30, and Floyd would have been 32 years old.
Right.
It would have been the primes of their life. And it's a shame that the world, literally, the world had to wait till Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, lost to Bradley, blah, 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 for this fight to even happen in 2015 when Pacquiao was already 36 or whatever. Floyd was already 38 years old. It was a fight that was 7-8 years too late. And this fight, I mean, bro, I can go on and on about that. But that's a fight that I wish would have happened prior.
Look, that's a fantastic one. That's probably on everybody's top 3. I purposely left that one out because I was hoping to God that you got it, and you did. So thank you for that. And yeah, I agree with you, bro. You know, there's always the excuses. You know, was it Mayweather timing him out? Was it Pacquiao with the steroid thing? Here's an interesting perspective I'll throw into it. When they were coming up, it was kind of the birth of social media. Okay. So whatever rumor mills were going around about both negotiation would blow up or fan out in like super duper flames. And you would hear different rumblings of why Manny Pacquiao couldn't come to an agreement, or why Floyd Mayweather couldn't come to an agreement. Both cases, they should have happened. So I agree with you on that number 2. Who do you think would have won that fight if it did happen in
Manny
2008?
Manny Pacquiao.
How do you think that fight looked like?
Manny Pacquiao would have had Floyd on the defense the whole fight. I think Manny Pacquiao hit his peak in 2008, 2009, and there was just nobody that could beat him. There was nobody. Like, the guy was just unstoppable, man. You know, and I do agree with Eric Morales. That knockout punch from Marquez was a lucky shot. You know, because I remember seeing the fight. I mean, blood was coming out of every single hole in Marquez's face.
Right.
And he just threw, you know, a Suzy Q, bro. He just threw it, you know,
That's a good way of putting it.
And it landed. So I think Pacquiao would have won in 2009.
Wow, you think it would have gone the distance, knockout, or
it would have gone the distance because there's no way Floyd's gonna let himself get knocked out. But Floyd is that good.
I would say,
go ahead.
I would say this. I still give the nod to Floyd Mayweather because I think that fight would have happened. It would neither have been a draw, or Floyd would have pulled out a 1-round fight, 1 round given to him. Because I honestly think that was when boxing, in my opinion, changed. Floyd Mayweather did a masterful job on making defense more likable to the eye. It was always, remember, before Floyd, when he turned into Money, it was always about who's moving forward, who's dictating the pace of the fight, and so on. Floyd would change it, you know, to where now it became, oh, I get it now. There is beauty in making the other guy miss. There is beauty in counter punching. There is beauty on footwork and using the ring in defense. I think people would have seen that. And I think it would have been one of those fights where it would have been debated if it would have been a draw, or at the very least, Floyd pulls out the miracle win. And I still think Floyd would pull it out because I think people would have looked at Floyd Mayweather's jabs, his countering, because he was probably the greatest counter puncher of all time, and saying that those were more effective than the flurries that Pacquiao would have had. That's just my opinion. Controversial take. Yours is a controversial take. Mine's a controversial take. But that's what we do here on the Second Move podcast. All right. So my number 2 is also Floyd Mayweather. And it is Floyd versus Paul Williams, brother. The fight we didn't even know we wanted, that supposedly the fans were demanding, people were asking for. And look, to me, if this fight would have happened, I definitely would have had Paul Williams winning. He was the boogeyman, especially when he fought the other boogeyman in Margarito, beating Margarito. And a guy that is 6'1" with a 79-inch waist. I mean,
Waist?
I'm sorry, 79.
Holy cow.
I'm trying to get on the treadmill. No, I'm sorry. With a 79-inch, I'm
Reach.
sorry, 79-inch reach. I'm sorry. I think that would have been too much. Not to mention, not to mention,
Duh.
phenomenal defender, bro. Phenomenal. Also, southpaw as well. I think the reason why it never really got on to Floyd's to consider it was because Floyd was money at this time, not Pretty Boy, where Pretty Boy was fighting whoever was making his name, and he wanted to fight the bigger names, whether they were washed out or whether they were ready or not. Paul Williams wasn't pulling in the big money yet, and money. Floyd Mayweather took on Hatton, he took on De La Hoya during this time, and I think they were on different trajectories. And then Mayweather retires for almost 2 years. By that time, Paul Williams jumped up all the way to super welter, if I'm not mistaken. And the fight just never happened. Unfortunately, it gets into an accident. But that is my number two. You have any thoughts on that fight?
Yeah. I think that the power of Paul Williams, would have been something to be avoided, man.
Yeah, well,
And I mean, the guy could pack a punch. He had the reach, and he was young. He was, bro. It would have been another case of, in my opinion, Floyd making it a defensive fight. Of course, he's not going to go toe to toe with this guy.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And how do you see Paul Williams winning this?
Yeah, I actually think it would look like Tarver versus Roy Jones. Roy Jones is more of an active fighter. I agree with you that Mayweather would have to
Make it a defensive
make
fight.
this not only defensive but incredibly boring. The fights where we got upset at Floyd for literally, I know this is a controversial take, but let's not act like it didn't happen. Where he would stick and then literally run around 3/4 of the ring and then stick again and go the opposite direction, taking shuffling his feet on the other side of the ring. It would have to be that kind of fight where Paul Williams is standing in the center of the ring, having to wait for conflict from Mayweather, which I don't think Mayweather would have done. I actually think fair fight where the refs want to see some action. I think Paul Williams will win this fight also by decision. You have any? How do you think that fight would turn out?
Floyd wins.
Okay.
Floyd wins. Floyd will win that fight. Basically, with everything you just said, he would stick and move. And he would move to the point where he doesn't care about the boos or anything. He's not going to engage with this guy. And to go back to my number two is Pacquiao would give Floyd more problems than Paul Williams would, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay. All right. And I agree with you. To me, Floyd would have to make the fight boring, and I think that would be his only way of winning. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So drum roll, please. What is your number one? Talk to me, bro.
My number one, and I can't believe I'm enjoying Lennox Lewis today more than I ever have, bro.
Talk to me, bro.
And I can't believe he's 58, by the way. But anyways, because we started with this pod. And I started seeing fights and fights again. And man, dude, the dude was like a god, bro. When I see him fight, it's amazing. Anyways, Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe.
I was hoping you would say that.
Dude, Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe would have been, dude, can you imagine? I love Holyfield. And when I saw Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe, when I saw that, bro, on my screen TV, dude, you're watching two titans, two gods from the skies, bro, battling it out in the ring for us, bro. Mm-hmm. But Lennox versus Bowe is something that would have, in my opinion, cemented where Bowe stands today. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's proved who he is against the fights with Holyfield and all. But man, I would have loved the whole Lennox Lewis Riddick Bowe thing, man.
By the way, I have Lewis and Bowe my number one also, but I purposely left them out. Even if you would have gone with another number one, I would not have chosen number
Mhm.
one. So he's kind of like my what if, the fight that I left out. Here's something I learned about it though. They actually did fight each other in the Olympics,
Mm.
and Lewis edged him out on supposedly a controversial call where people were saying Riddick Bowe was robbed. So it's not like they haven't met each other before, but I agree with you. You got to realize something. The fight was supposed to happen, brother, in 94, 96, but Lewis got, he got caught with Oliver McCall with that hellacious right hook. What else? Riddick Bowe, he was struggling at this
With
time
the weight, right?
with the weight, and he even struggled against Galata. Even though they were controversial, let's be honest, Galata was winning that fight. Galata didn't have to fight 30. He probably could have, you know, retained, taken, gone to the next level in his career if he would have stayed clean during those two bouts with Riddick Bowe. Uh, so I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Who do you think wins that fight, though?
I think Lennox does.
Okay.
I think
Who
Lennox
do you think he
does.
even beats a prime Evander Holyfield? Riddick Bowe won?
But you know what, man? I could also see Lennox getting knocked up hell out, bro.
Dude,
I
talk to
could,
me.
I Riddick Bowe, bro. I'm looking right now in my brain, in my mind. I'm
Hmm.
seeing Riddick Bowe prime with that big old right hand reached around the ring, and I
Hmm.
think to myself, dude, I don't think Lennox will be able to handle that power. I don't think he'll. I don't think Lennox would handle if he got caught by one of Riddick Bowe's right hands, bro,
Hmm.
flying across the ring like that. But if you were to tell me who thinks going to win, Lennox. But I could also see Riddick Bowe not win a 12-round decision. If Bowe
He's been
wins,
a knockout. He's winning by
he's
knockout.
going to knock out Lennox Lewis.
And I'll say this: Riddick Bowe at his top physical condition, it reminded me of a young, hungry Larry Holmes.
Mm.
And I have Larry Holmes, my second or third greatest heavyweight of all time. We did a top three heavyweight episode already. If he reminded me of Larry Holmes, I think Riddick Bowe in top physical condition would have beaten the brakes off Lennox Lewis. I know that's a hot take, but it depends. Like, are we getting if it's going to be the out of shape Riddick Bowe after Galata, that kind of Riddick Bowe that we're getting, then yes, of course, I would pick Lennox Lewis. All about timing, of course, these hypotheticals we do, but I'm cool with that being your number one, bro.
All right.
So here is my number one,
Mm.
and it is Sugar Ray Leonard versus Aaron Pryor. Now, we had an episode already talking about Aaron Pryor's greatness with Alexis Arguello. He scored that fight and everything. But look, bro, what made it interesting is that it's everything in a weird way we wish that we can get today in today's boxers.
Mm-hmm.
Boxers that are stablemates or familiar with each other, they don't want to fight each other ever. You know, Aaron Pryor was friends with Sugar Ray Leonard. He was friends with Thomas Edman Hearns and Hagler. They're all contemporaries with each other. They all respected each other. And they were willing to meet in the circle of the ring. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they even signed a contract to fight. And unfortunately, Sugar Ray Leonard would get into a tune-up fight before the Aaron Pryor fight. Did my voice just crack? It did crack,
No.
right? Okay. and Sugar Ray Leonard would get like a torn retina or something, delaying the fight for another year or so. And then Sugar Ray decides to retire after that. By that time, Aaron Pryor, he wasn't the same Aaron Pryor anymore. And the fight simply just never would have happened. What do you think about that as my number one?
I think it's great. Do you think that Sugar Ray was ducking Aaron Pryor?
He didn't have to take the tune-up fight, but this was the era, bro.
Because
Where
he
if you're
was
gonna do,
there.
because this fight, if I'm not mistaken, was supposed to happen in '82. So it was early on. This was around the Duran, when he fought Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard did. So it goes to show you that he didn't have to do the tune-up fight, but tune-up fights were kind of, if you're going to move classes up or down, you always take a tune-up fight. That's tradition. It's not like today where, You take a tune-up fight, you're ducking, you know? So yeah, I could see maybe in a weird way he kind of wanted to age out Aaron Pryor a little bit, maybe possibility. I don't know, man. What do you think that fight would have looked like if they did get into the ring?
Dude, that's tough, man. That's tough because Ray Leonard, he's not gonna have Hagler. He's not gonna have a Hagler type of fighter. That's. Oh man, who has a better chin, Aaron Pryor or Hagler? Hagler,
or
right?
Leonard or Hagler?
I'm talking about Hagler and Aaron Pryor. Who has a better chin?
Oh, Hagler did.
Hagler does.
Yeah.
I think Sugar Ray edges it. I think Sugar Ray will find a way, but he's gonna do another type of second move. He's not gonna trade with Aaron Pryor. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, Sugar Ray knocked out Hearns.
Yeah, he did. He did.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I think Sugar Ray has the power to hurt Aaron Pryor and catch him. I think he's smarter.
Here's the thing that I find sad is Sugar Ray and Leonard to me reminds me of De La Hoya in the sense of they fought everybody. You know, if Sugar Ray Leonard would have had Pryor on his resume as well and beaten him, or had like an all-time legacy fight with him at the very least, win or lose. I mean, you're talking about Sugar Ray Leonard being on the Mount Rushmore of all-time boxers. Maybe he's already there. He could probably take that number 1, number 2 spot, fighting an all-time great like Aaron Pryor. You know, so that's a shame we didn't see that fight. So, any fights that you left off?
The fights that should have happened. Well, we didn't get the AJ versus Wilder.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't. I didn't get the Mike Tyson's versus George Foreman. I remember being a kid in school asking for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's. How about you? What'd you leave out?
I have, dude. Come on, Marquez and Morales, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when they were all fighting each other. You know more about the Morales, Barrera, those guys, that legacy. Why do you think that fight never happened, Marquez Morales?
He said that. This is what I heard in the interview of Un Round Mas. He said that Marquez wanted to call the shots on the location, timing, and gloves. And Morales Morales is like, no, I'm not going with that. Marquez wanted to control everything about the fight.
Right.
The purse, the gloves, location, and the time.
Wow. Imagine, bro. Imagine that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The other one I left off, of course, was Canelo Ward. That would have been a great one. You know, that's also a rumor fight. I remember there was talks of an early Canelo fighting Paul Williams as well. That was a fight that was supposed to happen. But literally, that in between negotiations, that's when Paul Williams unfortunately had his accident and was paralyzed. Yeah, a lot of great fights that we left off. Duran versus Arguello, that was supposed to happen as well. We've talked about that on a previous episode. So you have any final thoughts before we move on?
No, just just a great episode, man. I love talking about what could have and what should have, Mm-hmm. It's amazing how these fighters right now, when we're talking about Sugar Ray and Floyd and all these guys, I think to myself, wow, Sugar Ray is not compared greater than Floyd, bro.
And he was a beautiful fighter, bro.
Whoa.
I mean,
who's judging this, bro?
I know.
You know what I mean?
I think it's a timing thing. I think if Sugar Ray if they would have swapped careers and decades, if Floyd would have fought in the 70s and 80s and Floyd in the 2010s, I think everybody will be talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, the same way. Because, dude, you want to talk about a guy that was exciting, who had speed, of course, known for his speed, had great defense, the showmanship, everything like that, the phenomenal resume. It was second to none, bro. And he even retired in between his career and came back and took out the main mega guy that nobody wanted to fight in Hagler. So, interesting perspective. You have any thoughts for our audience out there?
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching our channels, subscribing. Hopefully you guys can share the channel so we can continue to grow. We'll try to respond to all the comments in the comment section. If there's any fighter or fights that y'all want us to talk about, let us know and we can make an episode on this.
Awesome, man. I love it. Same here, guys. I am Trey at the Stick and Move podcast. So if you get a message from me, that's the label it comes from. You get a message from Sam. It's Stick and Move Sam. We're trying to get to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. So please recommend our channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Those likes are very important as well. And Sam and I are always trying to get back to our comments. We'll go ahead and leave it there. And new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. So don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick